sorry, Doctor. I have no time to discuss this logically. Remember.
Welcome to Collect My Thoughts, a new piece of the Action series in which I, Eric, talk about what's important to me in and adjacent to hobby gaming and entertainment, while not having to deal with the tedious mediocrity of Greg and Micah. Stick around till the end of the video for a bonus thought on one of my favorite games, Scythe. This month's topic is BGG Rankings, Wikis, and Collective Action Problems. In a recent episode on our regular series, we reviewed Seven Wonders Duel, and in the course of the review, I gave the game an 8. Now, obviously, I really like this game, but after some consideration, I realized that giving Duel an 8 out of 10 is saying that it's only 2 steps away from the greatest game in the world, and as much as I like Seven Wonders Duel, it's no Star Trek Monopoly. So I adjusted my rating down to a 6 and included an explanatory note in the video. But this got me thinking about ranking systems in general, and in particular, game rankings on BGG. Currently, Seven Wonders Duel is rated an 8.1 on the site. In fact, the overwhelming majority of games on BGG seem to fall between 6 and 8.5. Now think about that. Could it really be that well over 50% of all games ever made fall into this range? Well, that would depend on what the 1 to 10 scale is supposed to represent. If it's supposed to be showing how a particular game sizes up next to all other games in existence in some objectively measurable sense, well then, it is of course impossible for the majority of games to be better than average. But of course, that's not what BGG rankings are supposed to be showing. BGG rankings are an aggregation of people's feelings about a particular game. And it's important to remember 3 things about feelings. Feelings are entirely subjective, they are easily influenced, and they are for the weak. But in all seriousness, this doesn't mean that BGG rankings are useless. But it does mean that it's helpful to bear in mind how people's behavior, influenced as it is by emotion, changes in groups, and particularly when online. BGG is kind of a wiki, a website, some of whose content is generated by its users. I don't know about you, but I'm more likely to rate a game right after I've played it. This can be useful since it's fresh in the mind, but it can also skew the value I give it because of metagame reasons, like whether I won or lost, who I played with, and whether or not that person had bathed recently. I can have a great time playing Munchkin, for instance. Not a good game, by the way, simply because of the laughter that ensues with the right group of players. That does not mean that Munchkin should get a good ranking. The ranking that you decide to give a game can also be influenced by what you see other people give it. In other words, emotion-based content tends to either be polarized or restricted due to its contagious nature. For example, a BBC article from 2018 reported that each moral or emotional word in a tweet increases the likelihood of it being retweeted by 20%. All wikis suffer from this kind of meta-influence on their content. The most extreme version, of course, being online trolls who feel empowered by anonymity. But this is, in some ways, a special case of a broader sociological phenomenon known as a collective action problem. If you're familiar with the famous thought experiment known as the prisoner's dilemma, you're familiar with collective action problems. I won't go into detail here, but the key takeaway of a collective action problem is that the most logical action for you, the individual, to take is the one that drives the overall well-being of the group down. If you're interested in reading more on the subject, I highly recommend the book Nation of Rebels: Why Counterculture Became Consumer Culture by Joseph Heath and Andrew Potter. What does this have to do with Seven Wonders Duel? Nothing. You thought I had a point? I will say that finding someone whose tastes align with yours and listening to their suggestions is vastly more useful than taking advice from an impersonal average. That's why, over on our regular series, Greg and I approach gaming very differently. Hopefully one of us will align with your tastes, and we can help you find games that you'll like. My tastes are better, by the way, objectively. So now for my bonus thought on Scythe. One often overlooked rule is that actions on the player board can still be taken even if the action is complete. So for example, you can still take the deploy action even after all your mechs are on the board. Why would you want to do that? Because all of the core game player boards have a bottom row action that provides 3 coins. If a big burst of coins in the late game can give you the win, spamming that action just for the coins can be a good strategy. Thanks for listening to me collect my thoughts. Until next time, take care.